Hey everybody, I hope you are doing well. I am Afefe with Touch by Tarot and Beyond. I am here to do a political reading for you all today, checking in on, I'm taping this early Monday morning, the 20th. We know that Michael Cohen resumes his testimony under cross-examination today. Lord knows, left it on a really shaky, rocky note last week with this revelation that perhaps one of his claims of having conversations with Trump about the hush money payment was in fact him talking to someone about complaints about a harassment from a 14-year-old. So you all have heard the news about that. Clearly, that is a bone that they have been gnawing on. Jurors have had, a few days now to mull that over. We know that one of the major challenges of this case is Michael Cohen's the star witness, and he was known for being, a repeat, a serial liar. But the idea, of course, was that there was enough there to understand that in this instance, his own personal issues and behaviors aside in the past, that there is something here, and that in fact he is telling the truth about it. Okay, so I want to take a look and see not so much just at his testimony, but I want to take a look at the verdict, you all. I'm going to Spirit and asking about the verdict because we think, in fact, Mershon is going to issue jury instructions this week. It looks like if things stay on course, the case is going to close out this week, and Mershon's going to give the jury their instructions. That is going to be so crucial, you all, because as you know, that's what happens, when the jury sits down, all of the testimony and what they've witnessed in person aside, what happens is they are given these hard and fast jury instructions, and they've got to go step by step, point by point through those and determine whether or not the prosecution proved its case based on the wording, the exact wording of those instructions. So that's going to be crucial. Of course, both sides, defense and the prosecution have had their opportunity, and Judge Mershon can issue his own. All of this has to get filtered through him. That was another big deal around, just as an aside, around Aileen Cannon and with the Florida case, because she was pushing for that, but there was also the question about what she could do with it. Anyway, that's another taping. So want to take a look and see, you all. First of all, I want to confirm, I'm going to ask Spirit to confirm whether or not the case is going to close out this week. And number two, Spirit's starting to give me, Lord knows I don't want to see this or feel it, you all. Please hear me. I'm getting a little jittery around a hung jury. Mistrial, no. I think Mershon, the guys have been saying Mershon has kept this thing buttoned up just right and tight enough that even though the defense has moved for a mistrial, and they're probably laying the groundwork willy-nilly, hook or crook, to appeal whatever decision that comes out of the jury. If they can find a way to do it, they certainly will. That's their aim. It's how they've slowed down everything else. But I want to take a look, Spirit. Are we going to get a decision this week from the jury? Will there actually be a decision handed down in the Trump hush money trial this week? Will we get a decision this week? Four of Cups, such a cool deck I'm using. Got it off of Etsy. Four of Cups. Got Biden sitting there chilling. That's some iffy. I'm wondering, it may even get pushed to next week. Is it going to get pushed to next week? Will the decision come down next week? Page of Cups. Will the decision come down next week? Six of Pentacles. Early next week? Early next week? That was a package card. I didn't take it out of the deck. Four of Pentacles. That's two fours. And the Four of Pentacles is a holding on, a tightness to it. Like there's some oh gosh. Is it a hung jury? Spirit, is it a hung jury? Is it a hung jury? I'm telling you, I am praying for the energy to change. I would love nothing more than you all to come back to me and say, Afefe, you were wrong, right? But I just pulled the Emperor. And that is always my card for you-know-who, for old Donald. Even though it's got Bill Clinton as a depiction on this card. Interesting. Yeah, you all, and that's another four. The Emperor's a four. I've got the Four of Pentacles and the Four of Cups. There's something about the foundation of the case, and this could also be a timing element, meaning perhaps by Friday of this week. But I would not be surprised. Spirit, please confirm. Are we looking at a hung jury? Are we looking at a hung jury in the Trump hush money? Wheel of Fortune. It's up in the air, you all. It's up in the air. So at the very least, I feel like Spirit is saying to us, this is not the slam dunk that we all thought it was going to be, and so much of it hinges on how things have taken that turn with Michael Cohen. He messed up, man. He messed up, and how could someone of his caliber just completely as prepared as he thought he was, for the months and months that he knew this was coming. Yeah, it got a little sticky. So let's just pray on it. Energy can shift and change, but right now, it's looking a little funky, you all. We could come up with a hung jury on this. I hope not. I want to be wrong so bad on this one. All right, moving on. Marjorie Taylor Greene and Jasmine Crockett, right? House Oversight Committee meeting. Of course, people were already upset. It was delayed because we had this contingent of members who went up there to kiss the ring and bow in front of the cameras and hoop and holler about Trump at the trial instead of being on the floor taking care of business, right? So there was already some tension. Also, some little hullabaloo online. Not quite sure how accurate it is, but I'm going to take a peek. There's been some complaints, not by the sitting members of the committee, but by House members that they were out in the hallways drinking because they were upset about the fact that they couldn't hold, the meeting had to be delayed and couldn't go forward because you had these folks up in New York, hovering around Donald Trump. So people were upset, and they said they were out, getting their sip on. And so that, which was totally inappropriate. So I want to see if that was the case, but that was not. I want to repeat, that was not. There's no indications that had anything to do with those members on the panel, including Crockett, Jasmine Crockett, Marjorie Taylor Greene, AOC, on down the line. Nothing to do with any of them. Just as a body, that apparently some folks were teed off and decided to get their cocktail hour on a little early. That's wild. Coffee. So I want to take a look and see. Here's the thing. So we've all heard it by now that Marjorie, they were there to talk about contempt charges against Merrick Garland. That was the order. That was the business at hand, right? Of course, as Marjorie Taylor Greene is wont to do, she comes out of left field with, does anybody here have some connections with Mershon's daughter? Did somebody hire Mershon's daughter? Crockett then piped up and said, listen, what does that got to do with the price of gas right now? We're here to deal with something else. Marjorie, being Marjorie, that's when she comes back with this thing about, you must not be able to see what you're reading because of your fake eyelashes. And that was a mistake. So, Jasmine came back. Well, let's talk about AOC and her fiery self first and foremost. AOC was like, wait a minute. That's not happening. And when Marjorie tried to come back at AOC, she used the classic term, baby girl. All right? Baby girl. When somebody tells you baby girl, that is for those who may not be, that's street code. That's code for, look, I'm about to check you. I'm already saying I'm putting you down here and I'm about to school you, baby girl, because you don't understand who or what you're dealing with. So it's an interesting kind of, let me put you in your place and help you understand who you're dealing with here. That's what AOC did, Cortez did with Marjorie. And Marjorie didn't even understand it. And if you saw the quick clips, you had Jamie Raskin and James Comey, and they were like deers in the headlights. They were like, what is going on? What is being said? They didn't even understand the coding and the language and what was really happening. It was really a fiasco. But here's the thing. So Jasmine Crockett, Jake Tapper, CNN, not a fan, but okay, whatever. Jake Tapper had Crockett on yesterday on the Sunday shows, and and of course had to bring this up. Crockett stood her ground and said, "Listen, what Marjorie said, the whole the stereotype of black women wearing eyelashes, wearing whatever they decide to wear to beautify themselves. There was even a comment made about uh, uh, um, AOC being known for her, big bright red lipstick. That's sort of a trademark of hers, and it is also, a means to beautify herself. It's something that she enjoys, but it has become a trademark. So there's this idea. She said clearly, Jasmine Crockett, talking to Jake Tapper, was saying, look, there's no way around it. What she did, this blatant racism that was taking place, I felt I had no choice but to kind of check her. And she didn't come out and say, I gotta write it down because that alliteration gets you. It was a bleach blonde, bad built butch body. Bleach blonde, bad built butch body. She didn't say it directly to her. She was addressing the committee. I think it was Raskin or one of them, and said, well, what if I said about this person, bleach blonde, bad built butch body? What if I said that? Would that be appropriate? AOC, of course, was raising the roof about having all of these comments, starting with Marjorie Taylor Greene, stricken from the record. And of course, they just decided not to do that. For whatever inane reason, they decided not to do that. But here's the thing. So Jasmine Crockett comes out of all of this and immediately, voila, decides to launch a line of merchandise with this saying now, beach blonde, bad built, butch body. With some of the t-shirts, I went online and looked at them. Some of the t-shirts have a sort of an outline, like a shadow figure with the blonde hair, so you know that it's MTG. With this saying, bleach blonde, bad built, bad body, whatever. I'll never get it right? Peter Pepper picked a peck of pickled peppers. So, but here's my thing. I'm wondering if on some level that might, so her point is, I'm sorry, let me back up. Her point in launching this merchandise, Jasmine Crockett has said that she wants to raise money for the Democratic Party. She's going to use something that was, tossed her way. She had to clap back, and that's what they're calling it, her clap back merchandise, because, the idea is, hey, this woman threw a barb at her and she came right back. Jasmine Crockett is no Lauren Boebert in that sense, right? MTG is dealing with a whole different scenario when it comes to Jasmine, all right? So she might want to, MTG's not one to back down. She's crazy as a bat out of hell, but for entertainment purposes only. But Jasmine's not one to back down. She's not doing that. Neither will AOC. AOC will play it a little more on the political side than I think, and I think Jasmine's going to come more from the heart. But I do have a question of whether, on some level, this merchandise, and the reason is in the wording, as an LGBTQ AI, someone said. I know there's some other, I don't want to be disrespectful, but collectively, I've always been an ally, absolutely, always will be. I had a little objection to the term butch body. That pinged me a little bit in terms of more stereotyping, more playing into the very thing that was being lobbed at her, Crockett. So that was I was wondering if there could be a little bit of just a tinge, because I know that in the state of Texas, Jasmine Crockett certainly is a rising star. No reason for her star not to continue to rise. I just think when I saw this merchandise, because I almost was tempted to get a shirt, right? I'm a t-shirt person, and I was almost tempted to get the shirt, but there was something about that butch body that just didn't go well with me. It reminds me of sometimes the reaction of people in the community to that FAGGOT word, some things just don't hit right, just as the N word, right, among Black people. And that butch body piece kind of got me. I want to go to Spirit and see if, in fact, there is some aspect to that might blow back on Jasmine Crockett, or if there's really nothing there. Maybe it's just a moment in time, and the merchandise is just gonna, she'll sell 100 of them, if that, and then it goes away. But I want to see that. Spirit, will there be some sort of fallback from Ace of Wands? I knew it. I was really feeling that, you all. that was not a good move, and it's not going to be a good look, and it's not that wording. I'm sure that she did not. I don't feel that from her at all in her energy. I'm sure that she is supportive of the community, but I think in the heat of the moment, she was so focused on putting, clapping back at MTG, and that those were the words she chose. But then to turn around and use those words on merchandise, the Hierophant, I think they're going to have to rethink that one. I'm not so sure how far that merchandise is going to go. And I think someone, and it could be very well that in the gay community that she's going to get word, that was not the best choice of words, Jasmine. You might want to pull that, sell what's already been printed, but then pull some of that back. I didn't get a good vibe from it. Really would be interested to hear how it struck you as well. But the impetus behind it, the idea that she raised it up and she took the bar a different level to NGT and said, girl. And then AOC is over there like, baby girl, don't play. She said, don't even play, right? Now, that shirt, baby girl, don't even play. Let's print that one up, right? With the MTG, something signaling that it was toward her. Let's print that one up. I'd buy a few. I'd buy one for myself and give some away as gifts for that. Baby girl, don't even play. All right, you all. And moving on, the last thing I want to look at today is Alito. This Alito Thomas thing. Alito Thomas thing with the whole ethics issues. Like, this has been going on for months and months. And the idea that the Supreme Court needs to tighten up on its ethics situation, and whether there are, what can be done when the people who sit on the highest court in the land are the ones who are the problem. Then who's in charge of handing down some sort of decision on when there's been an ethics violation, right? Now, we already know that the whole thing with Clarence Thomas with Harlan Crow and Alito with, what was his name? Ron? Somebody will tell me in the comments, and I'm sorry, his name escapes me right now. But there were these billionaire players, this billionaire club, putting luxury trips and boats and jets and, secret luxury little meetings and hideaways and whatnot going on. Now we have Clarence Thomas. There's questions being raised about his taxes, that he was given a loan to buy some luxury, they called it a motor coach instead of an RV, and I guess that's what you get when you go to a certain level. But almost 300,000, 250,000, or 290,000 some change. A lot of money for an RV, that some loan that apparently he never repaid and did not pay taxes on. So we got that hanging in the balance there. And then it comes out about Alito. Never mind, we can rewind some tapes about Jenny's whole situation with Mark Meadows and the Jan 6, right? And idea, okay, Thomas has already said, I'm not recusing myself. He recused himself from the John Eastman situation, but he's refusing to recuse himself from the immunity decision that's coming up in June, presumably in June, the Trump immunity decision. All right, he put his foot down on that one. Was like, nope, I'm going to participate in that. I don't care what Jenny did. I don't care what she said. I don't care. Jenny could have been, whatever. That's Jenny. This is me. Well, now Alito is trying that same tactic with his wife, with this flag that was raised, got it on camera, pictures taken, just like we saw the documents in the box, right, at Mar-a-Lago. Like, some things we see with our eyes, and they still find a way to work around it as if. So now we have this flag being flown upside down. Alito says, didn't have a thing to do with me. It was my wife. My wife was having some dispute with a neighbor. And so, that was her answer to it. But it got taken right down. I made sure that it got taken right down. And there's some neighbors apparently who are like, we're pretty sure that flag flew for like a few days, right? So now there's some sort of investigation around that. But the bottom line is, hey, the arguments have already been heard in the immunity situation with the Supreme Court, the immunity question. So that's already done. That part's already done. Now they're already in the process beginning to render their decisions and opinions. I don't know who's taking the lead on that. I'm sorry, you all. I'm not sure if even that information has been released yet. That's going to be really, really important. Who's taking the lead on writing that opinion? But it's interesting that, in that case, even Katanji, I realized that even Katanji, Jackson Brown, or Brown Jackson, I'm sorry, she recused herself when they had the Harvard University case around affirmative action. She had to recuse herself, or she didn't have to, but she voluntarily recused herself because of her association. Apparently, she had sat on a board of one of their committees at Harvard before, and by virtue of that, she did the right thing ethically and stepped back. But Alito and Thomas are like, we can see what is happening with our own eyes, the American public. We can see that clearly there's some ethics questions going on here, and they are simply saying, we don't care. We're going to sit here and render that decision. We're going to make sure those two, decisions and opinions that lean very right and lean towards Trump. We're going to make sure that that happens. Now, Clarence Thomas surprised everybody with the decision he rendered recently that was, people didn't expect it. But don't think for one moment that he's had a change of heart. Spirit is telling me that that man is, until the day he checks out of here, he is who he is. I've got the Seven of Pentacles. So that's the consideration, the decision, the opinions that are starting to go underway already, the arguments that are being had in-house among the Supreme Court justices. The Three of Swords. Interesting image there, by the way. I'll share that with you. The Three of Swords. Is that the American people being disappointed with the decision? The Hermit. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Alito is not going to recuse himself. That's part of it. Can I get a confirmation on that, Spirit? I think that would have already come into play. But I don't think there's going to be enough pressure. Him using the excuse that it was his wife's doing is going to just give him just enough breathing room to be able to justifiably, in his mind, stay on the court in regards to this decision. It's the second time I've pulled that card. It's a blank card that's a part of this deck, and I just forgot to take it out. Alito. The Fool. That is so interesting. This has to do with some new precedent that's going to come out. I don't see the court granting presidential immunity at large. But there's going to be some aspect to it, you all, that is going to tweak the existing law just enough to promote it in a way that will give Trump a feeling of them having supported him, them having done what he basically shaped that court as it stands right now. He helped shape it as it is, making it so right focused, 6 of the 9 justices. So, yeah, there's going to be that Fool is making me, the Fool and the Hermit together is making me think their spirit is saying they're going to tweak it just enough. It may not be outright immunity, you all, but it's going to be, that opinion is going to tweak the law. That law as it stands on the books right now is going to get changed. The laws around presidential immunity are going to be changed through this decision that's coming forth from the Supreme Court. I do not see it leaning so far. 6 of Swords, exactly. They're going to punt some of this out, they're not going to touch certain aspects of it, but there's going to be something written in their opinion that comes out that does lean in favor, that's favorable towards Trump, without coming out and full on giving total immunity to, thank you, Spirit, I got a 8 of Pentacles. That's like the decision. That's how it's coming across, the actual decision. So don't be surprised. There's going to be some objectionable to reasonable people who appreciate democracy. There's going to be something in there that is objectionable and that is disturbing. But on the other hand, I think there will be Spirit is saying there's enough people who are almost, at this point, we're almost on, instead of being shocked by all of these things, it's almost like, saw that coming. Saw that coming. So once again, in time, we've talked about this, a lot of psychics. In time, you all, we can't panic, because in time, got to one step at a time. Got to handle what needs to be done, handle business in November. And then going into, there will be fallout from that, going into 2025. Around 2026 is where a lot of people who've made predictions, my spirit guides are giving me the same sort of vibe. Around 2026 is when we're finally going to start to feel like we're over the hump. They just gave me an analogy to COVID, right? We remember, 2020, the world turned upside down. We didn't know up from down. It was horrific, right? We remember that. 2021, pretty much the same. We're sitting on pins and needles waiting for the vaccines, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You see what I'm saying? It was a process to get us where we were comfortable traveling again, comfortable going outdoors, comfortable being with people, etc. So even though we're still cautious, Spirit is giving me that as a metaphor or an analogy to what's happening here in this situation with Donald Trump on all levels, in the federal courts, the Supreme Court, etc. That there is a process that is playing out here, and there will, step by step, bit by bit, we will get back to a sense of normalcy, of democracy. I do not see us teetering wholesale into authoritarianism. But we got some time to go on that, and we'll do some more shows around that. But that's what I had for you all today. I hope it was helpful. I hope it gave you some food for thought. As always, I welcome your comments on in the comment section down below, and I'll check in with you really soon. I am going on vacation this week, so I may do some little shorts or something online from where I'll be, but I won't probably do any lengthy video until next week. All right, so take really good care of yourselves. I'll see you soon.